So spot prices are effectively prices for immediate delivery of carbon credits. We are mainly looking at the few thousands of projects that have issued or are issuing credits rather than pre-issuance projects because we're looking at the spot market. Sylvera's approach is effectively doing a gigantic exercise of data collection. So we run a proprietary database of 300,000 transactions. These are verified bits, offers, and trades all over the market. These cover 40 independent sources, and these sources are brokers that are active, traders, intermediaries, platforms, project developers, exchanges, and I would emphasize finally, Sylvera's own quoting platform. We have a platform where suppliers give quotes to buyers so that our buyers could access cost-effective supply. And so through that platform, we have a flow of information that comes in every day to tell us more about prices in different corners of the voluntary carbon market. And this database is basically updated daily with hundreds of rows added every day. Now we have automated checks as well to detect outliers so that we ensure that the integrity of the input data is good. So what do we do with this underlying data? We transform it into two ways that the users could access these pricing insights. A is that we have project-specific spot price estimates. This means we use that underlying database, but of course with a bias towards the most recent data, to train a machine learning model around the prevailing price of different projects and their vintages. So this is updated weekly. It covers 8,000 projects on our project catalog, which are the most active ones and has the most volumes. We cover multiple vintages per project. So across the 8,000 projects, those are 20,000 projects vintages. We label our estimates by confidence level because we recognize that we don't have the best view all the time. And so for projects where we have fresh and high frequency data, it's labeled as high confidence. We also have an API integration available for these price estimates so that you could get the latest estimate as well as the price history. And we backtest this with actual data. So one observation is that we could use information up to, say, 2 weeks ago, run the model and see what it estimates the price to be. And we find that 90% of the estimates lie within $1 of the actual price in the next 2 weeks. So all this is to say, this is a relatively sophisticated model that could help people efficiently triage projects. The second way to access the information is to look at aggregate spot price statistics. So rather than digging into project by project, we could study the price distribution and the average price based on any given project type, region, rating, and registry, and other characteristics. And I'll show you these two in a moment. But effectively, this is a direct query of our underlying database of the 300,000 verified transactions.
And Aaron,
So
just as
yeah,
you're bringing that up, one of the key ways that users leverage this kind of underlying data set is by evaluating kind of what corners of the market, what project attributes buyers are willing to pay more for. So we know there's a very well evidenced correlation between the rating and the willingness to pay, but actually you can use this data set to be much more granular to say, okay, if a project is a certain type of ARR, or is following a certain methodology, or has certain routes into compliance systems, what is the premium that buyers are willing to pay on today's market? So that's like a very powerful data set that, yes, per project is very interesting, but actually at the aggregate level, you can begin to see the patterns of what buyers are willing to pay.
thanks, Rory. So I'll show that in action. So we're now looking at Sylvera's project catalog. As you can see over here, we have 23,000 projects across 20 registries. Let's say we're in a situation that we first want to understand, well, what's the coverage of prices? So I could filter for anything from 1 cent to $1,000. You can see we have 8,000 projects with a price signal. Let's say we are only interested in afforestation, reforestation, revegetation projects, AR projects. We have around 200 of them. And most buyers would be like, I have some quality threshold. Maybe I would like to have a minimum of B. And so you can see there are 18 projects left with a price estimate available. So this is a very efficient way to go through the universe of carbon credits. There are multiple ways of filtering, including estimated supply, the project proponents, including eligibility accreditation as well for different compliance schemes. So this is a quick way of navigating the projects using the price estimates. If anyone would like to go into the information that's behind that price, I'll open up a project page to show you how that looks like. So I'm now using the Kattingen project as an example. I'm navigating towards the price tab over here. And if I scroll down, you actually notice two sources of prices. At Sylvera, I think we are the only platform that kind of brings together two independent views. Of course, Sylvera and Allied Offsets have independent models, independent databases arrive at our estimates. They're generally correlating quite well. For our estimates, we are able to look at price estimate, but also with the confidence metric. As I indicated earlier, for some projects, we will see a lot more data points in a short period of time. And so we label them as high confidence. And people could see the history as well in the last 6 months. Currently, we understand that some of the users will be like, hey, I actually need more information. I want, indicators of the most recent offer, the most recent bid. We are working on these features so that, for example, in the future, you would find indicative dots on the chart that reveal, the latest offer or the bid on a given project. So that is what I said earlier about project-specific price estimates. Moving on, I would turn to the aggregate price statistics. So we have this market intelligence section where we have a bunch of data dashboards around the market. I focus on the prices tab over here and scroll to this section around price insights by project characteristics. As you can see, this is now an aggregate view of prices across all the projects that you've seen. So here we're able to report the average price by project type, but as anyone who's in the market long enough knows that it conceals a wide range. So here is the chart where you could see the first quartile, the third quartile of prices for each project type. And people who are looking for the right credits might want to understand as well, actually, I want to go for a certain quality level, a certain co-benefits. What would that mean for the price I'm expected to pay? Well, here on the bottom, let's scroll here. On the left, you see the average price segmented by the Sylvera rating. And on the right is segmented by Sylvera's co-benefit score for different projects. So you get a sense that while higher co-benefits will typically command a higher price premium, and a higher rating would typically command another price premium as well, and they're correlating. Of course, there are multiple ways to filter this data sets. I will just highlight two. So we could filter that by CCP approval, as well as methodology for people who want a really fine-grained analysis of the average price and price range.